Okay.
All right. And that should be doing it. All right. We are currently recording. This is a webinar about Family Match, Innovating New Frontiers for Children, for Child Welfare, excuse me. Thea Ramirez is our presenter. Thea has brought Family Match to Virginia, and we're very excited to have you with us tonight, Thea. Thank you for joining us, and we will turn the screen and the mic over to you.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me, Kate. And hello, Rhonda and Valerie. It's great to have you. It's so weird I can't see you or hear your voice, but just know that I'm really appreciative of you making this time for me today. And I'm really excited of your interest in learning more about Family Match. So before I just jump in, and I don't know, because I don't know how kind of time sensitive this is as far as responding to Kate or typing in, but during my presentation, if you would just, tell me, you don't have to say where, like specifically, or your address in Virginia, but where you are in terms of the regions. I think that would be really helpful for me to kind of gauge where you are, how you found out about the pilot, with the Family Match pilot, and if you are currently waiting, you're eligible, you have a mutual family assessment that's been completed, or a home study, formerly known as a home study, completed, and you're waiting to adopt. I'd love to know that, because I could definitely reach out to you after this presentation and just answer other questions you might have or help you create a profile on the system. So anyway, so that's just my little I guess ramp up here, but pleasure to speak with you guys today. My name is Thea Ramirez. I'm actually the founder and chief sharer at Adoption Share. We are a nonprofit organization that exists to leverage technology to bring efficiency and imagine a better way of doing child welfare practices across the country. And so one of the ways that we do that is through our newest application called Family Match. And Family Match is a data-driven application designed to better match children and families on markers of compatibility. And so it's a real privilege to be in Virginia. Virginia is actually one of 3 states that have picked up and been early adopters of this really groundbreaking innovation. And so we are super excited to be here with you. Hold on one second. Sorry about that. I'm at home, guys, so bear with me today as I got kids running around and okay. All right, so I'm back. So this is what Family Match is about, and a data-driven application designed to better match kids and families. Virginia, and let me just go to the next slide here.
And Thea, we have a family who has let you know that they heard about you through DSS at the Isle of Wight, and they're waiting for DSS to share their home study with you.
Fabulous. That's great. And is that Rhonda or Valerie?
That's Valerie.
Valerie, great to know that. And I think I might know, if you've already created a profile, I think I might have an idea of who you are. The overview of Family Match, just to kind of take you through quickly, give you the whole idea behind it and our relationship with BDSS currently. We have an 18-month no-cost demonstration pilot. This basically means, and kind of in the field of child welfare in general, to test something that is new, a new idea. The easiest and most efficient way to do that is to basically say, hey guys, we'll do it and you don't have to pay us a dime. It's a really scary thing to say when you're running an application as sophisticated as Family Match, but we know that all things can be possible. And so we have set our sights on just going ahead and personally fundraising in Virginia to cover our costs. So that is the kind of the idea behind our partnership. We have a partnership with BDSS at the state level. Of course, Virginia, as you probably are well aware, is a state supervised, locally administered. So even though our contracts with Virginia, we are still inclined to invite our local DSS offices and our private agencies. How the rollout is happening, we are able to accept families from all across the Commonwealth. we are currently working on the agencies that we are using in this first phase of the pilot is onboarding Eastern and Central regions only at this time. We'll be hopefully expanding as we build momentum. But families can be from anywhere in the Commonwealth of Virginia as long as you have an MFA or home study that's been approved. You are eligible and able to create a profile and sign up and be and to be matched on and through Family Match. So just wanted to, and I'm just curious, I'm going to ask this question. You don't have to tell me right away the answer, Kate, but how many of you guys have heard the term MFA, or are you guys still using home study? I'm just curious because I know there's been a recent change. So are you familiar with the term mutual family assessment, or are you still kind of going by the home study part of things? I'd just love to know if you have a minute to type that in, that'd be great. Out of personal curiosity, we want to make sure our messaging is speaking the language that you're part of. So, so this is maybe a familiar picture to you. It's something that we keep up on our actual website, which is available at family-match.org. Okay, so when you go there, you might see this picture, Meet Your Forever Match. And why I bring this up is to really kind of give you the idea and the overview of the objectives of what we hope to accomplish for families and for the workers. So for workers, I'll just start with them because they're sort of the fairly obvious ones, right? Like, we want to provide a more simplified approach that requires less work for them to be able to identify and match families. We want to reduce the timeline that currently prevents kids from actually getting into adoptive placements. And we want to be able to help them actually find more precise placements in terms of the stability that would ensue there based on those matches. For families, really the biggest benefit is visibility. The fact that in any part of the state, you know, all of the LDSS offices and the private agencies, they have their own pool of families. And oftentimes they will reach out to other agencies in their area or their region, or even maybe if it's a particular situation in which they'll have those relationships collaboratively with agencies from across the Commonwealth. But typically that's a very not complicated process, but it's a timely process. It requires a lot of phone calls. It requires a lot of emails. And then, of course, waiting for those workers to respond to those emails and phone calls. So the idea of Family Match is really turning the lights on for caseworkers that are really wanting to make sure that their kids end up in forever homes. And by turning on the light switch, they can identify all of the families that are eligible and approved and ready to take a placement of a child. So that's the biggest benefit that we hope to give, or one of the biggest benefits we hope to provide families, is just visibility. The fact that you are way more than the sum of 15-page home study or a mutual family assessment is important to us. And we want you to be able to demonstrate yourself in three-dimensional ways whenever possible to show that you're more than just a report, that you're a real family with photographs of homes and kids and dogs and pets and neighborhoods and extended family members. We also, one of our objectives for families is to reduce your timeline. The fact that this statistic is not just unique to Virginia by any means, but our whole kind of desire in starting Family Match was really born out of the realization that in many parts of the country, families can be waiting just as long sometimes as the kids are waiting to be adopted. And that just kind of makes your head do all sorts of turns and twists, because we think that as long as we can provide this common repository for workers, that they could be able to see all of their family resources in one place, would help them reduce that timeline so that families don't have to repeatedly go through the eligibility requirements, the home studies, the trainings, that they could go through that process, hopefully maybe one time, and then get a placement that lasts a lifetime. And then finally, the last kind of big benefit, and please, Kate, if there are questions coming up, just, feel free to interrupt or stop me. I'd be happy to take them. The final big benefit is to really provide your family as a match based on markers of compatibility. I'll talk about that a little bit more in a following slide. Oh, it looks like I have that slide redundant. This one. Okay. So this is so kind of to give you some ideas more about expanding that compatibility component. In doing this and setting off, my background personally is in social work. I have a master's degree in clinical social work. And social workers, God bless us, but math and science, not necessarily the strongest part of our educational background. I don't know, Kate, if that's your background, but for me, it was not. I maybe had statistics, which is helpful, but that's not everything, right? So as we were putting this together, I realized that, wow, I'm going to need some help. So I actually reached out to eHarmony, and I was pursuing a man named Dr. Jean Gonzaga. And if you're familiar with online dating and all how that compatibility matching thing works, you'll know there's a lot of different matching websites for families, right? You've got Christian Mingle, and you've got Match.com and Cupid and eHarmony. But eHarmony, when it started, they spent, and this is just kind of for your information purposes, they spent most of their startup capital on the research that undergirded the actual utility and the efficacy of the questions in the assessment. And so to that end, they hired the best of the best. They brought in Dr. Jean Gonzaga with a PhD in psychology, and I believe his other background is in data science, to launch a physical lab. So I don't know if you guys know this, but they actually built out a physical lab, and they had people from all over the country participate in a study. I think it was one of the longest longitudinal studies on marital satisfaction. And they had a physical place to record this data. And it was out of that they actually created the assessments that they utilized to match people with people. And so out of the kind of the research and the presentations that Dr. Gonzaga provided, I sort of Google stalked him, if you will, for a little bit. And when we finally connected, I just sort of cold called him, and he answered the phone. And I said, this guy has no idea. I've been looking for him and trying to connect with him for a year. I'm like, probably stalkerish, like at this point. And he says he'll give me 5 minutes of his time. And so I just kind of give him the background, the big idea that I'm pitching him. And he thought how interesting that was, how perfect the timing was, because he and his wife evidently had just been chatting about all that they know about compatibility and what makes people work together, but they'd never been given an opportunity to apply it in the field of child welfare. And that I was calling him on the heels of this conversation with a technology already built, but needing the math and the science component. So that's kind of the backstory that to build up to what our family match assessment consists of. So you actually have a former senior researcher of eHarmony that built out our compatibility assessment. And they are basically the caseworker side, it's about 79 questions. I think the family side's a little bit more. There's no health information or protected PHI information involved in this assessment. We're really looking at the snapshot of who the parents or parents, if there's two of you, are in this moment of time, and who the child is. And so there's a couple of different criteria that we're looking at. And how we got to this is, to solve this problem, we looked at about over 250 peer-reviewed articles that have ever been written to identify any attribute that was ever studied to be associated with a disruption. So that is how our assessments were actually built. And so what happens is caseworkers will fill out the assessment for the child. And the family, that's you guys, when you create a profile, you're asked to create an assessment. And so each spouse is responsible to take his or her own assessment, and you go through that process. And then the scores that are generated, the percentiles of which demonstrate how your family kind of stacks up or matches with any given child within the repository of children. So maybe you score higher for a child that you're more compatible with, and of course score lower with a child you're not as compatible with. And we think this is important for a number of reasons to get beyond what we call, quote unquote, deal breakers, the, run of the mill, like age, race, ethnicity of the child, and how many sibling sets. Obviously those can be important and oftentimes are sort of the basis for home study verifications as far as what you're eligible or who you're eligible to adopt. But we know that there's way more that goes into forming a relationship than just the external features of a person. Or something as situational as age. And so it's our desire to go beyond, just these sort of what we call these gatekeepers to relationships, and delve more into the who that's part of the match. So that's kind of giving you a little bit more context of the actual family match assessment. I have a brief video, Kate, and I'm not sure if I should play this for you. This is a little bit about just hearing from Dr. Jean Gonzaga himself. Would you like me to play that? I don't know if if you'll be able to hear that. Do you want me to try, or?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. All right. So let me.
Hello, my name is Dr. John Gonzaga, and I'm here to talk to you today about how data science can help the foster care system. I was the head of.
You might want to turn it up a little bit, Thea.
Data science, new lending alternative. When Thea originally approached me about this idea of using data science in a matching system to help better pair foster kids with family, I think I was more excited about the project than anything I've heard for all of my career. And I've heard a lot of ideas about matching people and things together. There are really 4 reasons of why. Hello, my name is Dr. John.
I'm sorry.
And I'm here to talk to you today about how data science can help the foster care system. I was the head of research and development at Department.
Can you turn the volume up, Thea?
Lending.
I can
right
try.
There.
I'm not sure.
There, right there.
Okay, let's see. Let me see if this is any better.
Okay.
When Thea originally approached me about this idea of using data science in a matching system to help better pair foster kids with family, I think I was more excited about the project than anything I've heard for all of my career. And I've heard a lot of ideas about matching people and things together. There are really 4 reasons of why I thought the idea was so exciting. 1, it allows a greater access of information. So data science and matching systems require that you bring all of this information about the kids and all of this information about the families together in one place in a digital form. And not only does that allow the models to work, it also allows other people to access that information faster and at a greater scale. Second, accuracy. Essentially what data science does is it takes all of the little bits of knowledge that all of the individual caseworkers have about what makes a good match, and it brings them together in one place and builds all of that knowledge in one model. That makes the decisions you're going to make on which foster care kids to pair with which families better and lead to better outcomes. The third advantage is scale. The more you can use a model, the less work sits on the caseworker's shoulders to be able to make those decisions, and the more they can pay attention to a greater number of cases, knowing that the data science and the models behind it are making these quality decisions. And finally, the advantage I think that is the most powerful is it allows you to weigh the trade-offs. That anybody could probably pick out the best foster care kid and put them with the best foster care family, but that might mean that other families and other kids get shortchanged. This allows you to put together kids and families so that the most number of them benefit at the same time. And that's something that is very hard to do as a human and is easy to do in a matching system. I don't think I've ever been more excited for a project like this. The amount of social good that it can do, the amount of help it can bring to the kids and the foster families and society is tremendously exciting, and I hope you will think the same.
Great. I hope you guys heard that. Were you able to hear that, Kate?
A little bit. It was really hard to hear, but I got the gist of it.
Okay. Sorry about that, guys. I didn't know how else to control that. But that's what he looks like. And basically what he was going through, if you couldn't hear that, was really the benefits of why kind of a more sophisticated way of matching, particularly with a technology system and an algorithm, is most beneficial way of doing that on a broad scale. So, we've got all of our different avenues and vehicles of matching kids, but to do that on a greater scale where the most amount of kids and families benefit is something that we hope to be the first to bring to the table here in child welfare. So, so that is my presentation. I'm going to try, Kate, to go to the actual website. So I'm not sure. Just tell me if you can't see anything, but I'm going to try to go to my desktop. And I'm not sure how to get to my. Okay. Trying to think of a way I can get out to my browser. 1 second.
We can see that.
Okay, I think I did it. So what I'm doing, can you see my screen?
No, we could see your screen a minute ago, but now we just see your name.
Oh, okay, hold on 1 second. Let me get back to the.
Okay, we can see your screen now.
Sorry, guys, I was muting myself and I didn't even know it. Okay, so I'm back. All right, so this is the homepage that families, and what I want to do is, and maybe Rhonda and Valerie, tell me if you've already been on and you've kind of seen this, then we don't have to go through it, but I just thought it would be helpful to see what the family portal looked like. And I believe hopefully it's still up. Let me go here. So this is the mock-up. This is not a real, you'll see that this URL address up here is not our actual URL address. This is what we call our QA environment. This is where we test a lot of what we've got before we push it to the actual user. So this is a completely fake couple. And this is what, this is a message that we control, as well as news from families. And so basically, we'll keep you updated and informed on what's going on in the system. And then, and as well as let you know about how many views you've had on your profile. So you can kind of stay active as far as what's going on and who's interested in you and that kind of thing. Then there's ways to modify your welcome message. This is what the outside world will see when they look at your profile. So that caseworker who hasn't yet pulled out your home study report, or hasn't yet requested it, or hasn't yet clicked on your home study tab, which I'll show you in just a second, they'll be able to see something, and you can kind of edit and say, you know, whatever you'd like, and update that. And then what it does on this end is this actually shows your profile, so you can kind of see as you build your profile what it looks like on to an actual user. Or to someone who's just looking at it for the first time. You can edit your profile information by telling us kind of the state, your religion, hobbies, things that you have in common, sports, places you like to go on vacation. And then down here, this eligible to adopt, and I'm going to kind of expand my screen so you can see this a little bit clearer. These are the principles that we utilize to check your eligibility. So typically home studies will specify things like the age range that you are eligible to adopt, as well as ethnicity, number of children, gender, and then of course the trainings. And this is really important, even if you've taken a training that might have been something off of, like, not the traditional route. Maybe your church was hosting a parenting training, or maybe there was, you went to a conference in a different state and have a certificate. you want to really build this part out as much as possible, because that training mechanism is going to really inform the workers about sort of the skill sets that you have as an adoptive parent to meet needs that a child might have that would be more well aligned with your family than, say, another one. And so so that is how that part works. And then contact information, you can update photos. We encourage families, there's no minimum requirement on photos. So, just, I think the more you can kind of talk about your family through pictures, of course, these are all stock images, so nobody freak out. There's no real people on this. I'm sure these people are real, but they're not. These are just general stock images online. And so, we encourage families to just, let your profile really paint the picture of who your family is, so that workers can really get to know your family beyond just that home study. We also have the ability for you to obviously create those assessments, those compatibility assessments. So this is where you would come, and again, it's if you're a two-parent household, then two parents, and not just the adoptive mom, but both the mom and the dad, or whoever's in the home, need to take the time to fill out these assessments. So it can't just be one parent filling it out for both parents. Some couples are out there like that, and you got to let your partner do their own. So once you've completed it, you'll get a status update that it's been complete. Parent 2, it looks like they haven't completed it yet. You can click there to complete it. And once you submit your assessment, those assessments are actually locked. Very rarely we allow that to be changed. There could be something that comes up that changes your assessment, but we really want to minimize the amount of times families try to do that. So really, unless it's like some really critical emergency, we sort of lock it out at that point. Of course, after you've adopted, or maybe you've had a placement of another child, that would prompt you to redo your assessment if you'd like to. And then finally, let's see, home study. We give families the option, if they have a copy of their home study, and we realize in Virginia that not all families have a copy of their home study, but this is just obviously a fake form, but you can upload it here. You would just upload your report and it would be here. We realize that not every family has a copy. You do not have to upload a copy of your home study to participate in Family Match. This just streamlines it and makes it much easier, again, so that caseworker doesn't have to go through all the hoops of getting a copy to evaluate your family before they make contact with you, both on and off the system. But it's helpful if you have it. It's not a deal breaker if you don't have it. So I don't want that to be a holdup for you at all. And then, of course, account settings is where you would do things like reset your password. And also, there's a couple of options that I just want to take a moment, particularly for Valerie, if she's already created a profile setting. So there's one setting that allows you to, down here, I'll talk about this one first, your profile setting. This is talking about if you'd like your profile to be visible on this is our production site. So this is where normal people would go to log in and view. If you want your profile to appear on our Find a Family page, then you would, let me go back to, whoops. Sorry, I gotta let that go, okay. Then you would click on that you would like your profile to be public, okay? Now, when you do that, obviously anyone can access this page, right? This Find a Family page. So when you do that, just know that your personal contact information and your home study are not available to the general public. So nobody else can access that information. The only people that can access your contact information, as well as a copy of your home study, which we'll get into in just a second, are the licensed providers that are using this tool to actually match children. So that would be an LDSS office or a privately licensed agency like an ATCP office, like UMFS or an office like that. And also, alternatively, you can also make this go private. So if it goes private, then you're still in the system and caseworkers can still see you, but you're just not listed in the public view. So I think right now we've got about half of our families have opted to be public, and the other half have opted not to. It's totally your discretion. You're not penalized either way. It's up to you. And then I just want to touch on briefly on the home study security settings. you have the option. So again, your home study is not available to the general public. You have to be a worker, a placement worker, in order to view one. However, you have control as the family, if you actually want to upload your home study, to either you can control access by just allowing any worker in the system to do it, or you can actually put that you want to have workers ask permission before you share their home study with you. So this just is another little shield if you just don't want any average placement worker, Joe person kind of looking at your profile, that you can control that access even one more step by just saying, hey, you want to see my profile, there's a little pop-up window for the caseworker that lets them click on it, and that sends you a notification right here in your view messages folder that, you know, so-and-so with this agency would like to view your profile. Would you give them permission or not? And so you can control that on your own, and that all happens here. Another thing, just to kind of give you some idea about what this page is, and let me kind of delete some of these messages here. This is our training environment, so we're always in here doing fun things to show people how it works. But this view messages and alerts folder, so let me go back to this public page. There might be a placement office that's not participating in this pilot in the Eastern and Central, another caseworker that might just be lazy that day and not want to log into their system, that could potentially contact you from the Find a Family page. And to do that, and I'm just going to click on this one because they've opted to be public, they can go to your contact us, and you'll notice that it's a message. So you'll see that your phone number, your email address is not listed. This is a way that a worker can actually just contact you without having to log into their system. And where that pops up on your page is view messages. So we always encourage families, if you have a profile, make sure you're checking your messages because a worker could be contacting you that way. And so that is basically your profile and how you create it. We have a support team that's happy to answer any question you might have. So if you ever run into difficulty or have a problem or don't know quite how to do something, we're definitely here for you. And we have support@adoption-share.com mail address. So that's the support address that you would shoot us an email if something's not working right, or you have a question on how to do something. We'd be happy to answer that question. And so this is basically your what an assessment, or what a profile looks like. All right. So that was a lot of me talking. I'd really love to kind of shoot it back to Kate and see if you guys have any questions, if I can be helpful in any way. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Thea.
Absolutely.
Valerie and Rhonda, I see you're still with us. And since you don't have microphones, do you want to type up any comments under the chat? And they did, by the way, answer, Thea, that they are still using the term home study in their area.
Oh, okay, great. That's great to know. That helps us when we create flyers to know
okay,
what is the language.
Well, I think this is going to help a lot of families. Since we've recorded it, it's going to help a lot of families understand how this process works. I think you and I talked, Thea, before that NewFound Families had come up with an idea we called Open Arms, probably about 6-7 years ago, in our attempt to try to get families to create profiles on our website so that workers could go to our website and find families who are waiting for children. We did not have any of the fancy technology that you had, so I'm really glad that you have taken that to the level that you have, so that there's actually a system for tracking all of that information and trying to get people matched up. I think it's fabulous. You've done a great job. And everybody is saying that they're good and that they appreciate the information. So hopefully some more people logged on, but I do think you already have one of ours. She said something about, with a little red-headed little boy.
Yes. Okay. Yes. I think I helped you, Valerie. If you remember, I was the one that helped you with the profile picture. So yes. And we are right now, just I guess a good update too. We are. It's hard to kind of lock this in because, you know, we're testing and we're still making sure all of our caseworkers are on board, but we hope to have the matching functionality turned on next week. And so right now, all of our families are live and caseworkers are reaching out right now. if your profile is up. But the whole compatibility score, that percentile that really shows where your family is lined up with the child, that gets turned on hopefully by the end of next week. So we'll send out an email. Also, make sure if you're a family that you're getting our emails. That's really important. A lot of our emails that we're finding are ending up in spam. So if you have Gmail or Yahoo or whatever, just make sure to go to your spam folder and search for anything from info@family-match.org or support@adoption-share.com. Both of those are from us, and we just would hate for you to miss out on some of these exciting information.
Perfect. And Valerie said, yes, you did, and thank you.
Absolutely. Anytime, Valerie.
All right.
Anytime. Awesome.
There is something from Rhonda. It says, will information about other services in Virginia be sent out via email? I guess about probably your new process. Are you going to be sending that out by email? Maybe that's what Rhonda means.
Yes.
Hey, Rhonda.
Yeah. The email correspondence is the best way. You can also follow us on Facebook or Instagram. If you've got a profile, we're at facebook.com/adoption share. I think, Kate, we've been kind of promoting each other on Facebook, so there should be like a link to either NewFound Families or to Family Match that you can kind of access. So that's also a great way to just keep apprised of what's going on.
Absolutely. All right, so everybody, I am really thrilled that you guys came on to the webinar. I hope you'll tell families that they can go to our website probably in the next day or two. And if they would like to view the webinar on our YouTube channel, they'll be able to do that. Up in the upper right-hand corner of our website, there is a little screen inside of a screen, which is the YouTube symbol. And you'll be able to click on that. It'll take you to all of our YouTube webinars, which I think we have about 8 of them on there right now, from psychotropic medications to the new information system being developed to share information with foster families, to GAL information about how to work with GALs, guardian ad litems. So there's a lot of different webinars there, and this will be joining them in a day or two. So thank you very much, Thea, and I look forward to you coming back to Virginia so we can go out and have a cup of coffee.
I would love that, Kate. Thanks, Rhonda. Thanks, Valerie.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye.